right, we are moving to our next guest corner, and it's actually very interesting. From what I would like to do now, from national matters, we delve to creative world, and here we are moving to the tourism sector. Okay, the tourism world, and I have here a guest who will be talking to us about issues of tourism in the country and the state in particular. She is Honorable Dr. FIDELIA Salami, National Tourism Author, and she was immediate past chairman, Delta State Tourism Board. Welcome, madam, to our program. Good to have you. And you are representing, you are having the Nigerian color. Your scarf is having Nigerian colors, and of course, still your skirt, traditional. Good to see you like this.
Thank you.
Ogaga is still here.
Good morning, madam. Welcome.
What do you have to say about madam's appearance this morning?
Good. I'm even seeing that she has a complimentary heel, so she's adorning the green and white.
I would have left the bag on the table. the bag also is artistic in looks, so you're actually representing, because when we talk about tourism, a lot of has to also be talked about in culture and all of that. Okay, recently you were in DBS to witness Children's Day celebration, which was actually tagged the Children's Day Cultural Carnival. Let's start from there. As a tourist, someone who is in the tourism sector, what do you have to say concerning what you saw on ground that day?
At this point, I must confess that was a carnival, real cultural carnival, and it makes me so happy to see the fact that you're grooming the children at that stage. The children, they were all excited. The programs at the event was actually excellent. I discovered a situation where you can imagine a child under 10 years coming to teach adults, me inclusive, how to cook banga soup, how to cook owo soup and all that stuff. It was incredibly fascinating. I saw all those and I was so impressed. They're talking about the cultural dance. Wow. You could see children of 3 years being energetic in the cultural dance. That's our heritage. So it was so exciting. And at this point, I want to say kudos to DBS and the general manager. That was awesome.
Thank you very much. Now, you made mention of the presentation of food from the children. You know, in tourism, there are different sectors. There is this area of food tourism. We'll come to that. Now, as a national tourism author, can you tell us exactly what you do? Do you just write for tourism matters and all that? Let's know.
The thing about it is I started with children.
Okay.
I started writing for children. I started teaching children how to do stuff on tourism. I actually discovered that it wasn't enough just teaching the children on my own or just writing playbooks for children. And now decided, okay, fine, these children are growing up. When I look back and I saw some of those children, going back memory lane, let me just say this. I attended a teachers training college.
Okay.
I attended Irwini Teachers College, and as a grade 2 teacher, we were teaching children, so that was how the children's stuff came about. So that passion actually drove me. So grooming these children, I now discovered that along the line, I discovered that some of these children I coached were now teenagers. And I saw it to myself that, look, it's not enough to just groom these children at that tender age and leave them to just disappear like that. That's the word I want to use at this point in time. So I said to myself, why not make books for these school children? But before I made the books for the school children, because of my passion for tourism, I'd already written a national book, Tourism in Nigeria, The Incredible Journey to the Heart of Nature, which is actually endorsed by Nigerian Conservation Foundation, NCF. And then going down the lane to the book was also forwarded by no other person than Chief Emeka Onyoku, former Commonwealth Secretary General. So coming from that background, I now deemed it wise, yes, these school children must have textbooks. So that was how I went to Abuja. We all put heads together and it was approved. NEDEC approved my books. So far, so good with school children, whether it's primary school, whether it's secondary school, whether it's university. I've done my bit.
Okay. Now, I love this title, Credible Journey to the Heart of the Nation.
Incredible journey into the heart of the nation.
Can you explain that, expatiate on that?
Yeah, when we talk about Nigerian tourism is not man-made. Nigerian tourism is natural. The landscapes we have in Nigeria are all natural. Majority of the sites, apart from the private tourist attractions, they are all natural. Unlike when you go outside the country, I've visited at least, if I'm counting, at least 13 countries. African, Europe, I've visited at least 13 countries. And I've discovered that what we have in Nigeria is something that you can't take it away. You just can't take it away. I've gone around Nigeria several times and I'm like, what? So how come we don't have these people from outside the country coming in here to see this stuff? Rather, we will leave Nigeria and go outside the country and go and visit man-made attractions, which is sad. So talking about the incredible journey into the heart of nation, come to Nigeria and see its nation all the way. Everything we have here are natural. They are not man-made. If you see any man-made tourist the destination or attraction in Nigeria, it's just to complement the natural ones.
Okay. So having made that point, what do you think that the nations out there are doing differently to attract us as against us having our natural sites and artifacts and whatever you want to call it, our culture, our food and all of that? They have not done enough. And the government, what role, where do you think they are lagging behind? Even individuals, what do you think we're not doing well enough to attract the tourists to the country?
Over the years, I must let you know that over the years, tourism had been merged with other sectors, with information and culture, with national orientation, with what is it called? Something Buri, I can't remember that now. And you imagine when we have a minister for culture, for information, culture, national orientation, what happens? The minister has to focus majorly on one of the sectors, either on information or culture or national orientation. So all the while, I have a boss, Wale Ejo Lanre, ambassador. He went to the extent of even going to the National Assembly to clamor for a standalone tourism sector, standalone tourism ministry, and that was about 10 years or so ago, and nothing worked out. But as God will have it, today we have a standalone tourism sector. So all this while, definitely there's nothing much government could do. Talking about policies, talking about moving this tourism sector into limelight, trying to bring in foreign investors, trying to bring in foreign tourists. There's nothing much they could do. But today we have a stand for the first time in the history of Nigeria since 1960. It was only last year His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, Tinubu, had to create a standalone tourism sector. So 2023 till now, to the glory of God, we have a standalone tourism sector. And I will let you know that the minister, actually, she's a senior colleague when we were in Shell. Okay. And she's not from the tourism sector. She's from oil sector and banking sector. But as you find what is happening today, she's going around all the tourist sites, trying to see what policies can be driven to make sure that these sites are being patronized by foreign investors, foreign tourists. So far so good with the new minister and the fact that we now have a standalone tourism sector. I believe something incredibly will be done. Thank you.
Now, also trying to go in line with the question he asked to ensure that we have more persons coming here rather.
Inbound tourists.
Yes. What do you think should be the role of the owners of these tourist centers? Because I know there are individuals who own tourist centers. Apart from government tourist centers, there are also individuals. So what can be done in terms of publicity?
The private sector actually drives tourism. It's not government that drives. What government should do, or what government does, is a situation of having an enabling environment. When I mean enabling environment, try as much as possible to make sure that the infrastructures are there, make sure that there is a security in place. These are the little things government could do to help the private sector. Tourism globally is driven by the private sector. So a lot of these private sectors have private sector individuals. Some of them have tourist destinations. I want to start with Delta State. I'm not biased. Everything I say first, I talk about Delta. I'm from Delta State. Yes. Now I had a school tourism ambassadors reality search program in Delta State, and it was at Mount Ned Nwoko. I want to give it up for Senator Ned Nwoko. He is a tourism enthusiast. He gave me his palace to do that program. It was just a pilot episode for school children. They came in, they lodged there, and then we took it for a good 1 week. We were having this reality TV show on tourism. Wow. And a man such as that, he has put in his best as far as tourism is concerned. Now I want to talk about Olona Ranch. Olona Ranch today is liquidated. The owner of Olona Ranch at the point in time wanted to sell the infrastructure there, and somebody was asking me, a buyer actually was asking me, how is the place? And I was like, Father, I don't know what to say about that. You can't have a monument such as, I call it a monument such as that, and then you want to dispose it, you want to sell it off. It's sad. There are others like that are liquidated. Even a government property, what is it called? Landa Brothers. Yeah. It's sad. It's so sometimes I just sit back and I'm wondering. I don't understand. Talking about Delta State now. Now go outside Delta State. There are other tourist sites, destinations, attractions that are owned by the private sector, and they are booming. Come to Lagos and see. They are all booming. So why is Delta State like this? I don't know. But for me, with the stakeholders we have, they're already collaborating.
Oh, you were Chairman Tourism Board last time. So what were you able to do in that regard to ensure that, the tourism destinations in Delta State were actually properly, honest?
Yeah, talking about harnessing tourism in Delta State. Even before I became the Chairman Delta State Tourism Board, I'd tried as much as possible to push tourism, because definitely everything I do here, when I want to launch my books, I come here first. I have a TV program, I come here first. So I tried as much as possible to project Delta State to be harnessed by the foreign investors world and foreign tourists. I got to a point where I was supposed to bring people from Germany to Delta State. Unfortunately, the COVID came up and thwarted everything. So that actually took me back a little bit. But aside that, yes, I'm the immediate past chairman, Delta State Tourism Board. You discover something. Passion drives people. When you have a passion for something, you could go off your way. It's not money. Money doesn't come first. Your passion drives you doing whatever you're doing. But you discover that even in the tourism board, you can't, how do I say it? You need to have round pegs in round holes. In the tourism sector, we have forms of tourism. We have sports tourism, we have cultural tourism, we have religious tourism, we have, ecotourism, we have educational tourism. The GM of the tourism board came from the Arts and Council. That's culture. All these forms I've called now, we have about 10 of them. And you bring somebody from just one to come and head the tourism board. I don't understand. Yeah, it's a different thing. Yeah, I'm from the culture. I'm putting the GM on my head now. That she's from the arts and culture. Arts and culture is different from tourism, I must say this. That's why today we have a Ministry of Tourism separate. We also have a Ministry of
Culture.
Entertainment, arts and entertainment separate. They're two different things. Round pegs in round holes. But when you have a square peg in a round hole, there's nothing much the person can do. Even as what is it called, immediate past chairman of the board, I tried as much as possible. This is what should be done. This is what should be done. Well, you can't. They say you can only force a horse to the stream. You can't force the horse to drink water. So the little I could do, I did. And then when my tenure was over.
Okay, we are going to invite you back because there's a lot to talk about. There's food tourism, there is the dance tourism, there's a whole lot of the tourism sector to be talked about. So we're going to invite you again, Ma, to please come here and have a full session with us on this ride. We've been talking with Honorable Dr. FIDELIA Salami, National Tourism Author and immediate past Chairman, Delta State Tourism Board. She has spoken extensively on tourism matters, but there are still areas to be touched. It's very broad. You can't exhaust it in a day.
Tourism is life. Everything.
Yes,
tourism
exactly.
is life. Your hair, your dress, the chair you're sitting, everything.
You see. So I want to analyze all of this when next will come subsequently. All right, I will have more coming your way on Morning Ride this morning. Please go nowhere.